Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live forever, but like be instantly forgotten by everyone you meet?
Hmm.
Imagine a life where you just leave no trace, no memory, no lasting mark on the world at all. What would that actually do to a person over, say, centuries?
It's a fascinating question.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into V.E. Schwab's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It's a truly unique story, one that's captivated so many people.
It really has.
We've taken a stack of sources, including a really fantastic book review, and pulled out the most fascinating nuggets of knowledge about this life lived right on the fringes of memory.
It was truly fascinating, I think, and a real core insight from our sources is how it frames the premise. It's not just a fantasy story.
No, not at all.
It's more a profound meditation on time, art, and honestly, the sheer terror of being unwitnessed.
That's a great way to put it.
So our mission for this deep dive is to explore Addie's extraordinary journey, these unexpected connections she manages to make, and what the story ultimately tells us about the power of being truly seen, and maybe the ethics of memory itself.
Right, how Schwab uses this fantastical setup to get at very human questions about existence and connection.
Exactly. Making the impossible feel profoundly real, almost relatable somehow.
So our story kicks off in rural 1714 France, and it starts with a truly desperate, almost classic Faustian bargain, doesn't it?
It does. Addie LaRue, she's facing this unwanted marriage, longing for a life beyond her small village.
She wants more.
She wants everything. So she makes a deal with this shadowy god of darkness, known just as Luke.
Look.
She trades her soul for freedom and eternal life.
It sounds like everything she thinks she wants at that moment.
Precisely. But, as with all those kinds of deals, the fine print is devastating.
There's always a catch. What is it here?
The cost is immediate and absolute erasure from memory.
Wow. Immediate.
Yeah. Our sources really highlight how severe this is.
Mm.
Her parents forget her within hours.
Hours. Oh my God.
Her entire village just loses the memory of her name. Even her footprints vanish from the earth moments after she walks away.
So it's complete erasure.
Total. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't merely a curse. It's a radical exploration of what it truly means to exist without being witnessed.
Like being a ghost with a heartbeat.
Exactly that. Utterly alone in a sea of people, it forces you, the reader, to consider what defines our existence if no one remembers you were ever there.
And Luke, the god she bargains with, he isn't your typical, horned devil from folklore.
No, not really.
The novel, as our review points out, portrays him less as a grand villain and more like a toxic boyfriend figure.
That's such a sharp observation from the review. He appears in mirrors, whispers these insidious bargains.
Always too beautiful to trust.
Right. It's a brilliant, almost darkly funny way to reframe that devil archetype. It makes him feel more insidious,
Yeah.
Less horns and pitchforks.
And more gaslighting and grand gestures.
Exactly. We've probably all encountered some version of that manipulative charm in real life, haven't we? Which makes him scarier, in a way.
Definitely more relatable, which is maybe the point.
I think so. And what's particularly compelling is the core tension the novel sets up early on. Will Addie ever truly want to break this curse?
Especially once she finds someone who does remember her.
Precisely. Because this isn't just a physical imprisonment, it's psychological. The sources emphasize how it forces you to question the very nature of immortality. Is it a gift?
Or is it, as one source put it, a wound that never scabs?
Such a powerful line. It really challenges our assumptions about what true freedom or a meaningful existence looks like when you literally can't leave a trace.
It sounds incredibly isolating. That slow-motion acid burn of loneliness, that phrase from the sources really sticks with me.
After 300 years of that, you have to wonder if any glimmer of connection ever breaks through.
Right. But before we get to that connection, let's talk about how she even navigates those 3 centuries. The novel has this incredible structure, doesn't it? This triptych across centuries.
Oh, yeah. It's quite something.
It sounds like a masterful way to cover so much ground without losing the narrative thread. Could you unpack that a bit for us?
Absolutely. The review highlights how Schwab masterfully braids 3 distinct timelines. You've got Addie's initial bargain in 1714.
Her origin story, basically.
Then her 300 years of wandering through Europe and America.
The long middle.
And then a present-day 2014 New York storyline. It's like looking at a 3-panel painting,
Okay.
Each panel adds to the whole picture but tells its own story too.
And they're all in present tense.
Yes. Crucially, each timeline is written in the present tense, which creates this incredible sense of, well, the review calls it vertigo of eternal now.
Vertigo of eternal now. I like that, because her curse means she can touch history but never hold it.
Exactly. She's moving through all these pivotal moments, maybe inspiring people, but she's never quite present in the historical record.
So what are some of those snapshots the review mentions? Those fleeting moments?
Well, she moves through history like a whisper, really. The interludes are described as short, impressionistic, like Polaroids slipped into a scrapbook.
Oh, cool imagery.
Yeah. We see her maybe inspiring a Versailles painter or smuggling pamphlets during the French Revolution.
Me getting involved, but anonymously.
Right. Posing for a lost impressionist painting, leaving invisible fingerprints in Jazz-age Harlem. Each is just a fleeting glimpse, a silent contribution to moments she can never fully own or inhabit.
It really illustrates how she's constantly interacting with the world, but the world just forgets her instantly. A
Yeah.
silent architect of unseen beauty.
Mm.
And you really see her character develop over these centuries. She starts out as this provincial ingenue, wanting more time, more sky, more everything.
Just grasping for life.
But by 2014, she's evolved, hasn't she, into a true strategist of invisibility. She's learned to adapt, to survive.
Oh, absolutely. It's a journey from innocence to, well, cunning, maybe.
Yeah, cunning seems right.
It is, and it's
Yeah.
fascinating to watch. Her superpower isn't just eternal life, it's this adaptive persistence.
How so?
She learns how to plant ideas in artists' heads, maybe hums a melody that someone else writes down. She leaves sketches unsigned. She becomes a myth without ever being mythologized directly.
Wow.
She masters the art of, stealing clothes without being caught, finding shelter in museums after hours, signing her name on fogged windows just to see her own name for a second before it vanishes.
Just for that moment of existence.
Exactly. But the psychological cost is immense. Schwab portrays this cumulative loneliness so vividly, that slow-motion acid burn.
Right.
Addie counts days by her hair length, talks to the moon just for a gaze returned, sometimes even forgets her own face until she sees it reflected in someone else's eyes for a fleeting second.
That's heartbreaking.
It's profoundly isolating. And I think, even without a magical curse, anyone who's ever felt truly misunderstood or unseen can probably resonate with that deep, aching loneliness.
Definitely. It really heightens the stakes for when or if Addie finally finds someone who remembers her, which is such a profound observation. It makes me wonder then, given that deep-seated need for witness, how does she possibly find connection?
Well,
And that brings us to the novel's second miracle, doesn't it? After 300 years, something truly incredible happens.
yes, we're introduced to Henry Strauss.
Henry. Okay, tell us about Henry.
He's working in a bookstore in present-day New York. Kind of a failed PhD student, a bit lost.
Okay.
And he's struggling with his own burdens, his own unique form of invisibility, actually.
Oh, interesting. How so? An inverse curse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what makes Henry so compelling is that he's not just some random connection. He has this incredibly parallel, almost inverse curse to Addie's. Yeah, our sources describe Henry's curse like this. Everyone he meets sees their idealized version of him. They love him instantly.
But it's not really him they love.
Exactly. Then they leave when reality inevitably fails to match that projection they've put on him. So he feels seen, but only as an illusion.
Wow. So this raises a huge question. How do two people, each defined by not being seen for who they truly are, manage to find and truly see each other?
It's a beautiful symmetry, isn't it?
Yeah.
To their afflictions. And it's what makes their connection so incredibly powerful when it happens.
And the moment when Henry actually remembers Addie after they spend a night together, it must be profound.
Oh, it is. For the first time in 3 centuries, someone sees her clearly and chooses her anyway, even though he can't quite articulate why he remembers her when no one else does.
So their romance is built on this foundation of mutual invisibility. She can't be remembered.
And he can't be seen for himself.
That's, wow.
The scene where he actually greets her by name the next day, after she's crept back into his apartment, probably terrified he'll have forgotten her like everyone else.
I can only imagine her fear.
Right. That scene, one of our sources says, lands with the force of resurrection.
Resurrection? That's intense.
It completely transforms her solitary existence. It gives her a connection she's literally never had before. It's the breakthrough moment the entire book hinges on.
Validating her whole existence.
Mm-hmm. It's not just that he remembers her name, it's that he sees her. The real her, flaws and all, despite the curse.
Okay, this sounds like a story where the antagonist is just as nuanced as the protagonist, maybe even more so in some ways. Let's revisit Luke.
Luke,
Yes.
the god who granted Addie's curse. We've touched on him as this toxic boyfriend figure, but his presence really looms over Addie's entire existence, doesn't it, for centuries?
It absolutely does. He's always there, lurking.
What's the review's take on how he exerts that influence beyond just, popping up in mirrors? Well, the review goes into fascinating detail about his decadent, dangerous charisma. He's not just a tempter. He's a master of psychological manipulation.
How does that come across?
It describes his velvet coats, his ink-stained fingers, small details that make him vivid, and crucially, a voice that sounds like your own thoughts.
Ooh, creepy.
Right, it makes his insidious bargains feel almost internal, like your idea. His seduction isn't really carnal, it's existential. He whispers things like, I gave you what no one else could time.
Offering freedom, but freedom tethered to him.
Exactly. And his cruelty is so intimate, so personal, like that moment when he kisses Addie's forehead.
Yeah.
And in doing so, erases her mother's face from her memory. Just gone.
Oh, that's brutal.
Oh, yes. So this isn't about grand cosmic evil. It's about insidious personal control, which makes the novel's climactic tension less about defeating him physically.
And more about whether Addie can maybe weaponize her own desire, her own will, against the one who granted it in the first place.
Precisely. Can desire itself be turned against him?
That really deepens the complexity.
Wow. Okay, so beyond the personal, this story clearly delves into broader, deeper themes, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Our sources make a powerful point that Addie's curse serves as a metaphor for every erased woman in history. The muses without credit, wives without names, artists without signatures.
Absolutely. Schwab, through Addie's story, really seems to indict history's selective amnesia, showing how countless voices and contributions are simply forgotten or never credited.
It's a powerful statement about whose stories get told and whose just fade away.
It's a crucial ethical consideration the book brings up. Who gets remembered and who decides that? But the novel also celebrates art's incredible ability to kind of smuggle memory forward.
How does it do that?
Well, Addie inspires things. Maybe a lost Sheely painting, perhaps a forgotten Sappho fragment she once read, even a jazz lyric that survives on a cracked '78 record.
Little pieces left behind.
Exactly. Each of these artifacts is like a breadcrumb, tangible proof that she existed, even when history itself forgot her. So art becomes Addie's loophole for memory. It's her way to leave behind traces, even if no one remembers her personally doing it.
It's a brilliant exploration of how stories, ideas, creations, they can echo through time, even when the creator is lost.
That's really beautiful.
And that ties into the larger idea that memory isn't passive, it's creative. As the review says, we remember each other into being, one retelling at a time.
Remembering as an act of creation.
Yes, it's a profoundly powerful message about human connection, about the active role we play in preserving legacies and keeping people alive in our minds and our stories.
It's about the ethics of who we choose to remember, isn't it? And how we witness existence even when the world tries to forget.
It's a reminder that every act of remembering is, in itself, an act of creation. Powerful stuff.
Definitely. And the writing itself, the prose, is something to admire too, based on the review. It describes Schwab's writing as Baroque without Baroque.
Huh. I love that description.
Me too. Lush but never purple, and salted with modern idiom. That Baroque without Baroque phrase really caught my eye. What do you think the review means by that exactly?
It's a fantastic description, isn't it? I think it means the writing is incredibly rich and detailed, full of sensory input. That's the lush quality.
Okay.
But it's never purple, meaning it doesn't become overly flowery or like self-indulgent just for the sake of sounding fancy.
Got it. Keeps it grounded.
Right. And it's salted with modern idiom, which makes it feel both timeless and contemporary at the same time. It grounds the fantastical in relatable language.
Other examples?
Yeah, the sensory detail is often synesthetic, which is really impressive. Like the taste of 1920s champagne is described as gold and gunpowder.
Whoa.
Or Luke's voice sounds like velvet soaked in gasoline.
Wow. Okay. That paints a picture.
It does. The cumulative effect is timeless rather than historical. You feel the centuries piling up like dust on a mirror. It's just really rich and evocative, painting this vivid mental landscape without getting bogged down in, excessive historical detail.
Now, a good comprehensive review often points out perceived flaws, right? And this one is no exception. It raises a couple of points, like the central love story maybe being a little too neat, or perhaps Luke's redemption, if you can call it that, feeling a bit unearned. What's the review's take on those?
That's a fair question. And yeah, our sources do acknowledge those as potential sticking points for some readers,
Hmm.
especially if you're looking for strict narrative realism or maybe a more complex antagonist arc for Luke.
Right. Some readers might want that grittiness.
Exactly.
Hmm.
However, the review quickly pivots to say that focusing too much on those concerns might miss the novel's lyrical heart.
Okay.
It argues that the story prioritizes that deep, aching question of connection and belonging over, say, strict narrative mechanics. It's less about logical perfection,
And more about the emotional resonance.
precisely, asking if love can truly rewrite these deathless contracts. And for the review, the answer it finds is profoundly romantic, even if it is maybe a bit neat for some tastes. It chooses to lean into the emotional truth rather than absolute plot consistency.
That makes a lot of sense, especially given the emotional core we've been talking about Addie's whole journey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the ending of this story, it's a huge part of its impact, right? The final act reveals a pretty significant twist about Henry's ability to remember Addie.
Oh, yes, the big reveal.
It wasn't just a random loophole in her curse, was it? It was actually a new clause from Luke.
Yes, that's right. A new bargain, essentially. Addie can be released from the curse, finally, but only if she chooses to stay with Henry and grow old with him, embrace mortality.
And this twist, which could feel manipulative in another story, here, the review says it lands as grace. Why?
Because Addie accepts mortality, not because she's tired of living after 300 years, but specifically because she is tired of living alone.
Ah, the motivation is key.
It shifts her motivation entirely. It's not about escaping a burden anymore. It's about embracing a choice, a life, rooted in love and connection.
And the final pages show that, her living that life.
They do. It's this poignant countdown. 1 year together, one gray hair appearing, one shared apartment. We see her finally experience a normal life with all its beautiful fleeting moments alongside the person who truly sees her.
It must be bittersweet, though, knowing it's finite.
Incredibly, but deeply meaningful.
And when Henry eventually dies, Addie doesn't just return to her isolated existence, does she? She makes another choice, a powerful one.
No, she doesn't just resign herself. And this is her ultimate victory, in a way. She walks into a mirror,
Back to Luke.
back to Luke, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and becomes his consort. But, and this is crucial, not as a victim this time. She enters into it as an equal.
She negotiates?
She negotiates her terms. She agrees she will forget Henry, which is heartbreaking, yes. But the world will remember her. The novel ends with a woman, presumably Addie, years later, signing her name in a bookstore guestbook, the ink drying on a name that will not vanish.
She finally gets to leave her mark.
That's her hard-won triumph. The power to control her own narrative, finally leave a lasting mark, not just on a few scattered artists, but on the fabric of memory itself. It's a moment of profound personal agency, self-definition.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us? This deep dive into the invisible life of Addie LaRue. It really reminds us that history is a selective memory, doesn't it?
Definitely.
That art can be a powerful loophole, and that being remembered, truly remembered, is perhaps the only real magic we have against the dark, against being forgotten.
Well said.
Addie's final victory isn't grand in a world-saving sense, but it feels immensely personal. A name in a ledger, a book on a shelf, a lover who once knew her, etching her into the world's consciousness, finally.
And this story's legacy is already clear, even now.
Yeah.
Addie has kind of become this patron saint for forgotten artists.
Really? How so?
Bookstores report spikes in sales after customers leave these little unsigned notes saying, "Remember me." People get tattoos of the moon phase calendar Addie uses to track the centuries.
Wow.
It feels like it's shifted the landscape of fantasy a bit, away from just chosen one epics, towards this idea of intimate immortality. Not about saving the world, but just about being seen by it.
That's an incredible impact for one book, one character, inspiring such personal connections.
It really is. And as one of our sources profoundly states, small magics accumulate.
Small magics accumulate. I like that.
The novel suggests that maybe immortality, or legacy, really works one reader at a time, one memory at a time, one love that refuses to forget. It leaves us with this thought, maybe, somewhere, right now. A reader is finishing that last page and whispering Addie's name into the night.
And for a moment, she exists again.
Exactly. What does that tell you about the power of your own memories, right? And the stories you choose to keep alive, the stories we remember, and the people we remember. They truly shape our world.
A lot to think about there. We invite you to reflect on what it means to be remembered and what traces you choose to leave in the world. We hope this deep dive has given you plenty to think about. Until next time.